Let's discuss points of view. We have three different points of view we can write in, which is first person, second person, and third person. We're going to go through each of these and discuss different types of essays that would require these different points of views. Let's start with first person point of view. First person point of view is written from the author's perspective. You will see words like I or we. We're relying on evidence from the author themselves. So it's going to be more applicable for something like narratives or any type of essay in which all of the evidence comes from our personal experience. Then we get to an example here. This is from a narrative. Returning to my post, I started pacing back and forth, and I heard a helicopter fly over. We can see the use of I all the way through this paragraph, and it's because this is all from the experience of the writer. So the writer is going to be referring back to himself as I. We might also get we if we're talking about the writer and a group of people, like we went to the store, we rode our bikes, whatever it is. We're using that personal experience. So we're going to use this first person point of view or the viewpoint of the writer themselves. Next is second person point of view. In second person point of view, we are really writing directly to the reader and we'll include words like you and your. Now, where second person point of view gets complicated is when we're using you as a term to mean anybody. And we don't want to use that because that leads to philosophy. So we're really going to stick with, using it to talk directly to the reader. This point of view is best when you want to write maybe a personal letter, a complaint letter, some type of process paper. Really, a process paper is the only time when you might use you for a general audience because we're writing to many people on how to do something. So you'll say, you will do this next. We want to use second person in a limited fashion for just these specific types of letters or writing. We don't want to use it within a college essay unless you get into, say, English 500 in grad school, then maybe you can start to use you in that fashion. An example of you would be in this complaint letter that somebody has written. Concerning the workmanship on the porch, you did a wonderful job and the space will be greatly enjoyed this summer. So we're addressing the person specifically who built this porch or did some work on this porch. Then we get, unfortunately, you damaged the garage door by hitting it with your truck when backing up to the house. Please respond as soon as possible on how you plan to fix the damage. So we're writing directly to that one person. So it's appropriate to use you here. We wouldn't say he did this or the worker did this. We're addressing that person specifically. So we'll use you. The last one is third person point of view. Third person point of view is more objective. It's more like we're reporting rather than writing it from our personal perspective or writing it to the audience member. It's more as if we're reporting things that we found or we're constructing an argument rather than getting involved in the argument itself. So we'll see words like he, she, they, one. We think of that formal one. One must do his studies if he wants to continue to be on the football team. Or we can use the specific non-pronoun term like a student or Americans, rather than say you believe, we could say Americans believe. Or rather than saying you need to bring a notebook to class, we could say a student should bring his or her notebook to class. So we're using that actual definition of the person rather than using the you or I or we or anything like that. These are usually best for anything that we want to maintain that objectivity. So research essays will absolutely be in third person point of view. And we're going to look at some of the problems that can happen when we are writing research and we're using either first or second person. But let's look at an example here. While many people across the United States are exposed to mental illness and chronic diseases regularly, those who are incarcerated have a greater chance. So again, we're using the terms of the people themselves. While many people across the United States, okay, so I'm not saying you, I'm not saying I, we're dealing with the people themselves. We can use this as a way, again, of kind of staying outside of the argument. And we can see that this is more like a report than something which is requiring my personal knowledge. So let's look at I, you, and we within a research essay and some of the difficulties here. Using first person absolutely should be eliminated unless you are writing the introduction or conclusion in which you're providing a personal anecdote. So again, that anecdote would come from your experience. So it could be possible to use the word I, but we don't want to do that in the body of the essay. First and second person point of view can cause issues within a research essay. And we're going to look at some examples here. The first one, when you get angry and start hitting people, researchers say it's best to count to 10. I take that as they're saying when I get angry and start hitting people, which one, I don't ever get angry, two, I don't ever hit people. And so it feels like you're accusing me by using you. And you don't really mean me, you mean anybody. But to me, it sounds like you're writing directly to me, so we should take this out. The next, we all believe in the Constitution, but the interpretation is where we disagree. You think about your audience, you have audience members from other countries who don't believe in our Constitution. And so we're lumping them in, which is now alienating a big part of our audience. We don't want to do that. We want to include as many as possible. The next one, I think that torturing prisoners is a bad idea because it's often been shown to be ineffective. What this does by using first person is it minimizes the argument. It's saying, this is just my belief. This is just what I think. So we can see how that will minimize the effectiveness of the argument to just one person's opinion rather than something that's based on research. Then we get this last one. When you are in your third trimester of pregnancy, you want to avoid added stress. I know I need to lose the weight, but I am not pregnant. And again, this is talking directly to me. This is why I want you to get out of the habit of using that second person point of view, because I want you to think of it as writing directly to your reader. These can actually easily be fixed. So let's look at that first one. When you get angry and start hitting people, we could say when citizens get angry or when people get angry, researchers say they should count to 10 before they hurt people. Okay, so this is less of an accusation, and this is more as, again, you're reporting rather than interacting with the essay itself. The next one, we all believe in the Constitution. We can change this to most Americans believe in the Constitution. So that's more accurate. We're not saying that people from other countries believe in our Constitution. So we're not alienating that part of the audience like the first example does. Then I think that torturing prisoners is a bad idea. This is an easy one to fix. We just take off, I think that. And just say torturing prisoners is a bad idea. This shows that I'm going to now provide evidence. It's not just my opinion, it's based on research and what I found. Then the last one, when you're in your third trimester of pregnancy, we can determine who that person is rather than using you to mean anyone. We'd say when expectant mothers are in the third trimester of pregnancy. And then they should avoid rather than you want to avoid. These are easy things to fix. If you want to find you in your paper, just hit Control F, type in you, and it will show you every instance of you. That works in Google Docs, works in Microsoft Word, works in Adobe PDFs. Check for that before you turn in your essay. Make sure you're eliminating all second person and first person point of view in this research paper.